Welcome to From Our Perspective. Have you ever wondered what happens when an emergency motion threatens to cut your parenting time? Today I'm joined by family law partner Andrew Hogg. We'll discuss how Andrew helped a client protect their parental rights. Not only was it a big legal victory, but he also secured valuable make-up parenting time for this client. Andrew, thank you for joining me. Tell me more about our client and why they reached out to you.
Well, in this particular case, I represented the father, and I had a previous relationship with him because I had represented him in the divorce. And unfortunately, it was one of the situations where the divorce had been fairly contentious. And mother had continued this by filing an emergency motion to restrict father's parenting time. And so that's why he reached out to us.
And what criteria does the court use to decide on restricting parenting time?
Well, when there's an emergency motion to restrict parenting time, it's a very high standard. The courts take it very seriously, and so they look at, is there an imminent harm to the child? Meaning, is the child in danger of physical harm or emotional harm? And is that an imminent threat? So it's not something that's going to be 3-4 months down the line, but is there an immediate threat to the child?
And what types of challenges do you face in these types of cases? And tell me about the outcome of this case.
Sure. In all types of cases where there's an emergency motion, the biggest challenge is time. Because it's very serious, the courts want to make sure that the issues get resolved quickly. Meaning that if there is a danger to the child, you want to make sure that the child is out of that situation as fast as possible. And if it's false allegations, you don't want somebody's parenting time being taken away, because once the motion is granted, that parent doesn't get any parenting time until there's a hearing. And so it's very important for the courts to resolve these issues as quickly as possible. The challenge that presents to us as attorneys is that limits the amount of time we have to gather evidence, it limits the amount of time we have to get witnesses, and it really puts us on a time crunch to make sure we present the best case for our client.
And tell me about the outcome, how this case turned out for our client.
Well, this is fortunately a good outcome for our client. I mean, number one, the court found that there was no imminent harm being posed by father. There was nothing to the allegations that mother was making, which we knew at the time, but it was always good to hear the court say that. Additionally, father was granted make-up parenting time for the parenting time that he missed due to the restriction temporarily until we had a hearing. And the court ended up changing the parenting plan in a way that was more equitable towards father in the long run.
And if someone is in a similar situation, what advice do you have for a parent facing this situation?
Well, really, as I talked about before, the most important thing is time. Because you are very, very limited in time, it is important that you reach out to an attorney as soon as possible. Because every day that goes by is a day that you're missing out on gathering that evidence, on getting those witnesses, and preparing to defend your rights as a parent.
Great advice, Andrew. Thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
If you're facing an emergency motion to restrict your parenting time, don't go through it alone. We'll help you understand your rights and protect your relationship with your child. Reach out to us for a case assessment on our website or give us a call.